Hi there! Welcome to episode 191 of the WaveBack Music Podcast. My name is Chris.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to listen to the most interesting video game music there is. Sometimes you're enough, but sometimes you need more you. That's what tonight's game is all about, and its music plays a pivotal role in what makes it so good. Bring new meaning to the phrase, know thyself, because tonight we listen to the music of The Altars. Did I write that, or did you? I honestly don't remember.
I don't remember writing it.
That probably was me then.
Which is funny because I can't wait till we get to our personal history with the game.
Oh, good times. I feel like there's like more script somewhere. No, just hi, how's it going, Matt?
I'm good. How are you?
Just doing okay.
Yeah, just puttering along.
Yeah, just getting through the day. A friend of mine is texting me about Wicked. I'm very excited to have this conversation with her in the morning. So I go for walks with a friend of mine twice a week at the gym, and we tend to bullshit about stuff. And she is a huge Wicked fan. Like she had loved the stage play and all that stuff. Now I had never seen the stage play, and I kind of reluctantly saw the first movie and was like, "Well, that was great." But I had no idea what to expect out of the second part of it, because it's like, all right, I see where they're going here, but I don't see how you get from here to the Wizard of Oz. Like, I just don't see how that works. And I was pretty impressed how they pulled that all off. It was, yeah, good stuff. Anyway, she's already like pre-texting me about what we're going to talk about in the morning about Wicked. She clearly has a lot of thoughts. And I'm kind of excited about that. But how you doing? What's new and exciting in the world of Matt?
Nothing. I've been the only thing I can really report on is I've been playing Hollow Knight.
The original or Silksong?
No, Hollow Knight, the original. Because everyone's been praising Silksong so much, and I'm like, all right, fine. I'll bump it to the top of my list, and I have not been disappointed. And I will say there are elements to this game that are absolutely infuriating.
There are.
But for the most part, I'm almost done with it. Actually,
nice. Yeah, I actually kind of stopped Silksong because it's really hard.
So I've come to understand.
Not too hard. Not like it's like, well, this is so hard, it's not doable. It's just like
discouraging.
It is more like, I know that I can do this, but it's going to take work, and I don't have that in me right now. So, and I had other things I needed to play at the time, so I kind of like, knocked that off so that I could get to the stuff that I had to like review for the magazine and stuff. And right now I'm actually in the midst of the Mortal Kombat collection, which I'm getting to review for the magazine. I'm watching all the the documentary features in it, which are very, very, very cool. I'm just over the moon about it. Nintendo Music notification. Tracks from the Super Mario Party Jamboree game for the Nintendo Switch have been added, along with the notification got cut off. I guess it's along with the what? The what? Along with the what? I think it's just Super Mario Party Jamboree and probably like the DLC stuff. So that's cool. Congratulations to all the Mario Party Jamboree fans out there who are also listening to this podcast and getting this information a week later or whenever it is, because I don't know when this is coming out. Anyways, we've got a game that you've been that's been on your list for several months now, because things just keep coming up, and we're finally getting to it. We're finally doing it. We're diving in to the Altars. So, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Hit us with some history.
The Altars was released on June 13, 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Windows. And I'm pretty sure that makes it the newest game we've ever covered on the show before. So, congrats to us.
Yay.
Usually, the games we cover have been out for at least a year, but not today. In The Altars, you take control of Jan Dulski, a space miner who must create alternate versions of himself in order to survive on an inhospitable planet. The last sentence is straight out of the Wikipedia page because Chris wrote the script and has never heard of this game before. I also have not read this script, and that's why I sound so robotic. It's received generally positive reviews and has sold moderately well.
This game's composer was Piotr Mushel. His other works include Diablo 4, The Witcher 2 Blood and Wine DLC, and Bulletstorm. He's also composed for various film and TV projects and has an affinity for 80s Hollywood film scores. So, why did we wind up with this game? What's the reasoning here?
So prior to playing Hollow Knight, I played The Altars, and I thought this is a beautiful game. This has a beautiful soundtrack, and quite honestly, I found the story to be really touching, engaging, very emotional. It's a very interesting premise for a story mechanic. The game itself is fairly straightforward, in that, like like was said in the beginning there, your character Jan is part of a mission to this planet because they found this new element that's going to help further scientific research. And when you land, you actually crash land on this planet. Come to find that you're the only survivor, and effectively, the planet itself and its atmosphere is trying to kill you. So you have to mine and craft and resource manage and time manage your way to getting off the planet. And I found it to be very interesting. But the story mechanic of effectively cloning yourself leads to very interesting storyline beats and all sorts of other things that I guess that we'll get into as we listen to the soundtrack, or at least half of the soundtrack.
Right, because we won't be listening to all of the soundtrack. Because sometimes in modern games, that's a lot to ask for.
Yeah, I mean, this one we've got 12 tracks as always. I think the full soundtrack is something like 15 or 16. I can't remember off the top of my head. So, I mean, that kind of eliminates a question of personal history because, as mentioned, you've never even heard of this game prior to my bringing it to the table and your limited research for the script, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely nothing. And I really kind of went out of my way to make sure I didn't do anything else in this department either. Just in the interest of like, well, this is one of those wonderful situations where I just get to go in completely blind, which is always fun. So that's where we're at. I'm jazzed about it.
Great. Unless you want me to tell you a little bit more about the game, we can dive right in.
Well, let's do some diving, my friend.
Let's do some diving indeed.
Yeah, why don't you take the lead? Since I mean, it would be very silly for me to take the lead on this one. I know I tend to do that, but I'm just going in blind. So, well, you take the lead. You show me the ropes here, buddy boy.
So one of the things I think I'll say up front is The Altars is one of those games where depending on what you're doing, where you are, story beats, things like that within the game, it'll trigger some music, and in other cases there'll just be kind of a generic music playing, whatever in the background over something. So I'm going to do my best to attempt to identify where each of these songs is playing. I promise you I won't get half of them right, but nonetheless, I think the score is beautiful, very well put together. And again, because it's one of the most modern games we've done, it's very much a far cry from, the games that you're used to hearing on this show. But I think this is one of the few games where it has like an orchestral kind of ambient like soundtrack. I think it's one of the ones worth highlighting. So, without further ado, we're going to dive right in. The first track we're going to listen to as a group is How Did I End Up Here? And I'm going to press play now. That was How Did I End Up Here by. I'm sorry. Can you say his name again?
No, I
Okay.
can't.
All right.
I want to
Yeah.
say Piotr Mushel.
Yes, by Piotr Mushel. So, if I remember correctly, that song plays right when you discover. Okay, so you crash on this really gnarly planet, and you're kind of talking to yourself. You're trying to reach the other crew members, and you start to come across their um, escape pods, and you come to find that everyone that you come across, they're all dead. So you figure, okay, I've got to get myself to. There's like a mobile station that I guess was going to serve as your, place of operations, and you're going to get yourself there. And I think they do this big sweeping orchestral passage as you kind of come up on this big ridge, and you see this really inhospitable planet where like everything's gray and dark black, and the water is like lapping up on the shore, but it's black too. And your space station, mobile space station, which by the way is just a giant tire. It looks like a giant wheel. If
Huh.
anyone's ever seen the movie Rubber, good on you, because that's a great movie. But it's this big circular um, space station that you move through the planet. So as you come up on this ridge, you see this thing, and you get that big sweeping orchestral passage. And that's How Did I End Up Here?
I just wanted to say, it kind of reminded me of a.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I just walked right through that. Yeah, yeah.
I was like,
Sorry.
oh, look, I'm tired. We could just barrel through.
We just barrel through
It
this.
wasn't a super long song, so I didn't have a ton to say, but I will say that it reminded me a lot of the Stranger Things theme.
Yes, it has that building tension and the synthesizer
Yeah, the
sounds.
kind
Yeah,
of 80s inspired synth sound. So I like what I'm in for.
yeah, yeah. Definitely agree. So now we're gonna take on the second track, which is "Home Far Away." This is more than likely going to be the track that plays as you um, approach, if not enter, your mobile station. So, without further ado, "Home Far Away." That was Home Far Away from the Altars. And what did that do for you, Chris?
I think the first part of it was a little more, I think wet is the word I'm looking for, than I expected. There's just a lot of little squishy wet sounds. That was kind of that was definitely unexpected. Not bothersome by any stretch of the imagination. Just like, well, that's kind of a sloppy sound there. A little gross. I don't know how I feel about that. It was a lovely piece of music, very mysterious, kind of ominous.
Mm-hmm.
You're really kind of continuing that '80s movie vibe that I got out of the first one. I want to say like getting vague tones of never-ending story. You know,
Mm.
interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you wrote the intro, and you mentioned his affinity for '80s film scores, and
I
a
sure
lot of
did,
a lot of those,
theoretically.
a lot of those are synthesizer based and stuff like that. So it's you can kind of see the connection there. But to your point, the planet is very interesting to explore, and you need to do all sorts of things like you have to figure out how to cultivate a food source. So you need organics, which in this case is like running water. You need to gather minerals to break down so you can make all kinds of things like radiation shields because the planet's atmosphere is radiation. There's tech trees that you advance, and it makes the game a little bit easier. You can put up mining things that automatically mine for you, and you can make them better. And of course, there's story beats. You have to do certain things to advance the storyline. Now, the problem is the sun, or the star in this, scientifically speaking, the star that this planet orbits puts out lethal radiation. So
Hmm.
at some point, there's three acts, and at some point in each act, they tell you, um, you know, uh, radiation's coming, and if you don't skedaddle, you will get killed. Like it's insta death. You can't escape it once it happens. So we'll touch on that a little bit more as we progress through the soundtrack. The next song we're going to listen to is a Rapidium theme. So at the beginning, I mentioned that you were on this mission to a planet where they discovered this new element. That new element is called Rapidium. Um, it's really cool the effects they do to show this new element. Like, so when you go out looking for resources and to explore the planet, you come across these Rapidium deposits, and they flutter, and they're translucent and pink in hue and stuff, but the the area is like prisms, like looking at stuff through prisms, and it's really really cool. And so this is what plays when the very first time you discover the story beat Rapidium deposit. So here is Rapidium theme. That was Rapidium Theme. And I love that because obviously, having played the game, I know exactly what the visuals are, but somehow or another, in my mind's eye, I can hear, or rather, in my mind's eye, I can see what I'm hearing, if that makes sense. What I said
Hmm.
before about like the light kind of being sent through these gaseous prisms that cause the things to refract and kind of distort reality as you're looking at it, and it glows this pink golden hue, and it's I mean, it makes sense to me again if because I've played it. If anyone else has played it, then you know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I get it.
It was certainly a creepy little tune. Um, I enjoyed it. Can't say I have a whole ton to say about it. It seems like one of those things that very much improves with context. But yeah, it certainly was a cool little piece of music. This game sounds eerie as heck.
Yeah, it can be. Like when you're on the planet's surface and you're doing the exploring and the mining and the story beats, there's a lot of like interesting things that happen. So this game's like 50-50 exploration and then 50% inside of the module. So, inside the module is when, as the story progresses, they they do this cloning technology thing where you're by yourself and he's like kind of sucks, and they allow you to clone or to create a sheep named Dolly. So for anyone who's any science buffs, that's the first sheep that was cloned. They named it Dolly. So in the game they did the same thing, not claiming it was the first sheep to be cloned, but of course the process. And that leads way to the cloning technology, or what becomes called the alters, because they're alternate versions of you. They've somehow figured out how to. So the Rapidium is the element that helps them to do these things, like clone a version of you. So they take your life and visualize it, stretch it out, and imagine a vein that goes straight across from point A to point B. And in this vein, there are other points. And if you decide to, you know, click on this one point, it's these pivotal moments in your life that you made a decision, that Jan Dolsky made a decision to do what he did, and it goes straight across the very linear. But the scientists have allowed you to pinpoint a very pivotal moment and choose B instead. And when you do that, you clone yourself, and you now have a different version of Jan Dolsky yourself with a different set of skills. And that's how you progress through the game, because you basically were on board as like a grunt, and now you're the head of this mission. And it's very interesting because now you clone like a scientist version of yourself who's really, really smart. But then once you guys get talking, you realize how vastly different your life is. And that's where, in my opinion, the real meat and potatoes of this game is this very brilliant storytelling through this very wonderful mechanic. So, yeah, it's very, very interesting, especially if you really enjoy like deep storyline, deep and interesting and emotional storyline. So, anyway, this next track is called Molten Echo. This next track is called Molten Echoes. Um, oh, my guess is so after you survive the first act, um, your your ship, the module is moving along, and then it suddenly stops, and you can't figure out why. So you have to go outside and take a look and figure out what's going on here. So you step outside the module, because that's what they call it. It's like this big. Yeah, I just want to keep calling it the wheel. But you step outside the module and you find that your ship has come up to a giant like rift where there is a massive river of lava, and you can't cross it. So now one of your next big challenges is how do we figure out how do we get across this? So Molten Echoes is the song that plays when you discover you have to cross a lava river. And now you'll discover what that sounds like. That was Molten Echoes from the Altars. Um, yeah, well, before I keep going, how'd you feel about that?
Well, it certainly made me sound like something bad had happened. Like that's the definitely the vibe I got off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, not really. I don't want to sound like this isn't doing it for me, because it is. I'm very much enjoying it. It's just I'm having a hard time coming up with a lot to say about
Mm-hmm.
them, because they're these very, a lot of the stuff that I pick for the show is extremely melody driven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is very environmental, which is really really interesting. But I'm struggling to sound intelligent while talking about it.
No, I mean, why start now? Um, that honestly goes for the both of us. No, it is. I will admit, when I chose this game, I knew what I was going up against, which is to say, a game that is atmospheric and driven by player interactions and placement and things like that. Um, but you know, I stuck to my guns. So it's at this point in this game where I mean, you've been fairly unchallenged, like no enemies, no big bad. It's just you trying to survive. I guess the big bad is time, right? But you start to discover that there are these things that everyone affectionately
Oh, that
English.
was fun.
Yeah. There are these things affectionately referred to as anomalies, and they're basically like these amorphous blobs that are uh, sort of prism-like, and they shimmer. So, like, if you're not paying attention, you can run right into one. And this is where your first set of like mundane challenges comes, which is ironic, which is funny to say, not ironic. But now you've got, so every step of this, every minute of this game is like a new challenge presents itself. Okay, I need materials to build radiation shields. Oh, but those same materials will now go into a weapon that's been fashioned by the scientist so that you can eliminate these anomalies and then at the same time gather their resources. But at the same time too, those resources also go into the uh, uh, the biosphere portion because we have to grow food because we now have to eat because there's 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 of us, and the more of us, the more mouths, the more food, da da da. And it builds and it builds and it builds. Tupac said it best when he said, "Mo money, mo problems." Um, Maybe it wasn't Tupac. I'm too tired for this, but I digress. So we're gonna go ahead and move on. The next song is called "The Last Stretch." Um, Based on its name, I feel like this is kind of more end gamey stuff. Um, Once you get into like Act 3, a bunch of the stuff that we'll get into kind of towards the end of the 10 is end game stuff. But for now, this is The Last Stretch. That was the last stretch from the altars. I imagine this is playing in that last stretch of game where you've got the lineup. This is the end of Act 3. You've got the lineup, and you've got only but so much time to get everything together, get ready, and effectively be rescued from the planet.
This one was very Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
Like very specifically Tron Legacy, the Daft Punk soundtrack. This was very evocative of a couple of different songs.
Yep.
From that that soundtrack.
I can definitely hear that.
That ain't a bad thing. not by a long shot. This was pretty cool. I really don't know what the visuals in this game look like, but it definitely is evoking some real like techno-y looking. I don't know. It gave me some real Tron vibes. I like Tron vibes. I doubt that's what it actually looks like, but it definitely the song had some movement to it, like you are moving during that song.
There is some level of like triumphantness to it. I feel like it's building towards obtaining the goal of persevering, of overcoming. Because that's all this game is survival. Like I said, you're fighting the clock, and then eventually you're fighting these anomalies, and of course the anomalies evolve. They're not just these one or two variants. There's like 5 or 6 of them, and they all do different things, and they all behave very wonky, and one of them messes with time. It's wild. But speaking of messing with time and just generally raining on your parade, the next one we're going to listen to is Magnetic Storm. In addition to the star that this planet orbits, effectively trying to kill you, there are these magnetic storms that come in, and they wreak havoc on your module. They cause high levels of radiation that you can, be out in the atmosphere and do things, but you're slowly taking on radiation poisoning. Resource drain. It's one of the only thing worse than that is, the star killing you because this thing it lasts. A magnetic storm can last anywhere from like 48 hours to 72 hours, and you just have to exist in this storm, and you have to really like work hard to figure out how to still gather the resources, still keep everyone happy, because you have to keep the crew happy, which are all these different versions of you. Now imagine cloning yourself from different points in your life where you took the B choice instead of the A, and everyone's got all these different points of views, and you have these conversations, and everyone argues, and it is just the worst. And when they are not happy with you, they're not productive. So now you have to take on their job as well. It's just it sounds so chaotic. It sounds so stressful. Anyway, my biggest stressor is Magnetic Storm, and this is the accompanying song for it. What you just listened to was The Sound of My Nightmares. That
I
is
was going to say,
Magnetic
that was
Storm.
intense.
Yeah. The sequences when there are magnetic storms really are, because imagine being inside of some kind of space station and everything is malfunctioning. Inside the space station, you have all these different modules. And as I mentioned before, one is like a greenhouse where you're growing organic food so you guys can eat. Another one is storage areas where, you store stuff. Um, there's a fabrication station. There's a refinery. So all these things that you need to keep this space station up and running, yourselves alive and moving forward. And this magnetic storm is just wreaking havoc on it because you have these radiation shields, but when a magnetic storm comes along, it depletes them exponentially faster. So you have to try and keep up with this, and it's just so frustrating and so terrifying. And this song is just like the literal musical orchestral embodiment of the whole thing. It's kind of impressive, actually.
Yeah, it was that was something. That was definitely intense. Certainly not the kind of music you want to put on before bed.
No. Well, I mean, some people might be into that. I'm not one
I
of
am
them.
not some people.
It is true. You are one person.
It's true. I've been told that before.
By me.
Right now.
Yep.
This is good podcasting right here. We're doing
Fantastic.
a great job.
Just give us the give us the Pulitzer right now.
Do they give Pulitzers for podcasts?
No.
They will now.
Yeah, they will. Based solely on this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a prime example of what happens when you don't get enough sleep. Moving right along.
Loose and fancy free.
As I mentioned before, one of the main mechanics of this game and the storyline beat points is this idea that they have taken Jan Dolsky's life and stretched it out over from his birth all the way up to the moment he left for this mission. And in it, there are forks in the road that you can take to create alternate versions of yourself. So when you go into the machine that does this, and of course now I forget its name, you see the visual representation of this. And this is the piece of music that plays while you are looking at that. It's called Alternate Life Paths because you're about to take an alternate life path. And you are going to listen to Alternate Life Paths. Enjoy. That was Alternate Life Paths from The Alters. And that's certainly a track that, like, I find akin to
level selection, password input, character select screens, because it's kind of short. You're not really in this space for too long. When you do look at the alternate life path choices you can make, they kind of have a nice paragraph that kind of talks about what Jan was doing at that time, and then not what he did, but the kind of B choice. It's very interesting. That a lot. Oh, I want to say a lot of work, love and care went into crafting this story, and then to have to create all these other quote unquote life paths for this character. Just I can't talk enough about it. But sonically, what'd you think?
Um, hmm. I'm trying to think of what specifically that reminded me of.
Hmm.
I mean, it's really there is that very like sweeping synthesizer noise. It's just so delightfully 80s music. It was slightly unnerving. There was a degree of majesty to it. Like whatever visuals were paired with that must have been at least intended to be impressive. I think that's kind of the vibe that I got out of that more than
Mm-hmm.
anything. Like
I
it exudes grandeur.
I wish I could say that that's what it is. I want that to be so true just for you. I actually find the visual to be kind of there's a word, there's a perfect word for it, but I don't know it. I find it to be very much just like, you imagine if someone figured out how to take your entire life from your birth up into that moment and visualize it as though it were like a beanstalk. But
Hmm.
you know that sequence in, speaking of Stranger Things, where 11 is first in that place where there's like an inch of black water on the ground. It's reflective. So this
Yes.
this beanstalk exists in that kind of place where there's like just a weird, moody background and stuff. And you know, when you look at the life paths, they're still almost paintings of like Jan doing the other action. There's an example where like one of the life paths is, instead of and I trigger warning, this is kind of dark. Instead of Jan sitting idly by as a teenager as his father's abusive to his mother, he actually stands up to his father, which then creates a different life path. So there's like a almost painting esque sequence of him standing up to his father and like kicking him out of the house or something. Um, Majestic is really interesting because it does sound majestic, but you're almost like looking at this guy's life who's kind of just shrugged his shoulders through his entire lifetime and has gotten here. And you learn that through dialogue with other characters. At some point, you speak with your ex-wife. She's part of the project. It's very interesting, very fascinating, very
Hmm.
deep. Yeah. Um, but anyway, I digress. The next song we're gonna listen to is a song entitled "The Prism." Um, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not too sure what this is. I want to say that this is definitely excuse me. I want to say that this is like Act 3. This is, every act gets bigger, the areas get bigger, there's more to mine, there's more enemies or anomalies in this case, and more trials and tribulations. And I think there's a whole area that you have to traverse that, like, for whatever reason your map can't, like your GPS doesn't quite, uh lock onto it or whatever. So there, you kind of go into this area a little blind. Plus there's a element of the storyline where some of the altars have mutinied and left you right at the, like, the last possible moment, and you think, well, we're all boned. But anyway, here is the prism. That was the Prism.
I am.
So, I have to apologize for most everything I said where I thought this song appears. I was right about some of it. It is, in fact, in Act 3. It is, however, uh, when you discover the prism anomalies. These are the final anomalies that plague your exploration and advancement. And what happens is when you get near a prism anomaly, it actually shatters your vision. And so imagine a prism, and then imagine in front of your screen and how it just would blow the visual out of whack. And the kicker is every anomaly has this like floating core to it that the weapon that's created for you is to be aimed at and fired, and then you destroy that core, you destroy the anomaly. Well, you're in this prism state and you still have to approach and find the core to it. It is a very tough task. But it is so cool looking. Like I can't tell you the first time I hit one of these things and I was like, what is happening to the screen right now? And like, it took me a moment to realize, oh my God, it's a whole new anomaly because I just got done dealing with the one that bends time. So time is your enemy in this game, and you come across this anomaly that you don't even see it. You just wander into its kind of aura, and time speeds up. And where a normal kind of fight with one of these things will take 10 seconds, those 10 seconds in game time are probably like 20 minutes. When you fight the anomaly that bends time, it steals 3 and 4 and 5 hours. And if you were like, oh, I've got enough time to go mine, nope, you don't. But then when you fight this prism anomaly, it's kind of beautiful, actually. But again, screws with your perception of the game. You get stuck in this moment, and it eats time. And you know, like the track we just listened to, the Prism, it's very heavy. Like a lot of these things, these pitfalls, these encounters, these things, they're time drains. They really drain your resources, and it's rough. And then again, you tack on this idea that the crew is mad at you. You got to keep them happy. All these things, all these story beats and stuff. It's such a involving game. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. Unrelated, do you remember the premium channel Prism?
No. What did they play?
I don't know. I just remember when I was a little kid, there was a premium channel called Prism. You know, like HBO, Showtime, Prism. It's totally a premium channel. I still picture the logo in my head.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Well, all right, we're kind of rounding third and heading towards home here. The next track we're gonna listen to is "Getting Ready." This is truly the final push. There's like this really cool precipice that you have to climb and set off the beacon that will alert the rescue squad where to land so that they can grab you and all the rapidium that you've, supposed to have been gathering as though to make the mission not a complete and utter wash. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So here we go. Getting ready. That was Getting Ready off the Altars soundtrack.
That's pretty good.
It's definitely that portion of the show where you feel like I can't say much else. I just be
I
repeating
mean,
myself.
we've definitely kind of the songs aren't super stylistically different from one another at this point, but they're still very impressive. Like that was intense.
We didn't get to listen to it, but the audience did. This song, Getting Ready, reprises some of the themes from the Altars theme, which was the intro to the show. There's that do 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 do. That's a main theme of that's a main melody from the theme. That's a running musical theme. It does appear other places, but most specifically in Getting Ready, as it kind of starts to tie the big bow on the game itself. Because this is really the last push. Interesting thing about this game is there's 3 different endings, and either way, I think 2 of them have to go through this section, this portion where you, actually, if not all 3, where you light this beacon and it shoots up into the heavens. Oh, that was the big that was the big issue with this one, is we need to light this beacon so they can shoot up into the heavens, but there's some kind of force field on this planet because F you, that's why. So again, constantly overcoming something to survive, etc. But anyway, as we wind down now, this is the last track that you and I will listen to. This song is entitled Going Home, and I think it's pretty straightforward. There's a wonderful bit that happens at the end of the game when effectively is an ending, because you get off the planet, and then there is some time that passes and you pick up with Jan Dalsky again, because some of the decisions that you made in the game determine your ending. So as I said, there's 3 different endings. I've only beaten it once, so I only got one ending. I wanted to go back and get some of the other endings because, of course, achievement hunting, yada, yada, yada. But I digress. This is Going Home. Enjoy. That was Going Home off the Altar soundtrack. And I believe that plays over the images of your ship, or excuse me, of the rescue ship that comes and gathers you in the Rapidium and leaves orbit. And I don't know, to me, that makes perfect sense hearing that track and thinking about your ship leaving orbit and effectively bringing you back to, I don't know, planet Earth, I suppose. It's never really tackled. You just assume it's planet Earth.
Hmm. Well, it was definitely appropriately intense, considering the subject matter and the rest of the soundtrack. This is really a very marvelous and odd trip. Like, not really what I expected out of the evening. Not that I really knew what to expect out of it, but it was
Hmm.
pretty interesting.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a very, very interesting game if you're really into kind of like deep and interesting storylines. It's almost um, what's the word, gossipy, because you start to learn about once you create a new altar and they wake up. Every altar has its own personality, so you kind of have to figure out each one's personality and how to talk to them. And it's almost a manipulative thing because you need to keep them on their on you need to stay on their good side, excuse me. And there are some altars that have different relationships with people who are back on Earth who you're in contact with, where like Jan Dolsky, the original, has a terrible relationship. So it's very, very interesting. One of the things I didn't mention, which is kind of my favorite part, is they have a dormitory, or not a dormitory. Dormitory is where everybody sleeps. You can have multiple beds for all the, you know, altars, but there's like a lounge. That's the word. And in the lounge, you can watch movies together, and you find the movies as you explore because all your personal items get blown, to the four winds. So you find all these things. So you find like little gifts that you can give to each altar that kind of matches their personality and it kind of raises their spirits. But the movies are such a hidden gem. You can actually watch these movies. They're like 3 minutes long. They're so funny. They're so good. Like for 3 minute films inside of a video game, it's fantastic. But the kicker is you can play beer pong with your altars. And and when you drink, the more you drink, the more the screen wobbles. And I've played a bunch of times where I've won, but only once did I lose, and it was actually making me physically sick to play. This game is fantastic. Such a just a wonderful game. If you've got Xbox Game Pass, it's still available. By all means, get out there and play it. It's a lot of fun. It's very beautiful visually. Again, I can't gush enough about the storylines. A lot of fun. And if you're really into like resource management, gathering, crafting, and stuff like that, time management, is right up your alley. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's not available on anything that I have, so I don't
Oh,
imagine I'll be able to play it anytime soon. Yeah, it's only on PS5, Series X and X, and Windows. And I have a Mac that I don't game on at all, and I have a Switch too, and I have no Xbox or PlayStation. So I'm crap out of luck, but this was a wild ride, man. This was a lot of fun.
awesome. I'm glad you were open to the idea.
Well, heck yeah. Oh, I'm open.
Do you want me to read the outro or do you want to read it?
Well, I can do the outro. I can. What do you want to do, Matt? You've been running the show this whole time. Uh,
I'll
well,
do
you
it.
know what? Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Go
Eh.
ahead. Bring us home.
I will. Well, we're already going home, so let's bring it home.
Hey.
And that is our show. Join us next time for something a little different. We can't really do the WaveBack Awards anymore, and it's become a little too challenging to come up with a winter special these days, as we've done quite a few, and we've almost exhausted it. There are only so many ice levels after all, right? So, what I'm proposing is a best of 2025 episode where we aren't giving out awards so much as choosing the new songs that brought us joy throughout the year.
Well, gee, Matt, what a great proposal. I'm on board.
It's funny. It's as though someone else thought of this
Only after you started reading did I realize I wrote this for myself.
Do you want to read it and then I'll just edit it in?
No, this is way funnier.
All right then.
Yeah, no, I'm game. Are you game? Are you into this idea?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
I gotta say, this year I have played probably more games this year than I have in recent years. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I think it's gonna be I think it'll be a fun episode. I've got a handful of songs that have just been itching to play on this show this year. So this will be fun.
Right on.
All right. Well, we here at the WaveBack podcast are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens. We love communicating with you when we can. We have a couple of ways you can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a WaveBack chat where we frequently discuss all manner of stuff relating to video game music and whatever our next episodes are going to be. Of course, you can still send us an email at mail@geekade.com. And while you're at it, check out all our social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already. WaveBack and other Geekade podcasts are made possible thanks to the Geekade Patreon page. There, patrons can get access to a monthly podcast topic and recording schedule, get early access to most of Geekade's shows, including this one, and more. If you've enjoyed our podcast over the years, follow the link in the description and give it a look. We really appreciate it. Finally, as always, be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site over at geekade.com. Matt, what are you playing us out with?
So, this game is full of wonderful story beats and surprises. And one of the story beats is we find out that Jan used to play guitar. And so the scientist comes up with a blueprint on how to build a guitar, and you build a guitar for a story beat. And then with all of the altars that you have available to you, so as you make this song, you get choices. You get like 3 choices, and you could put, between 3 different lines of lyrics, and then you guys all sing this song. And the best part is Jan Dulski is not a good singer, and neither are any of his altars. But it's actually a really kind of touching, heartwarming song about the differences between all of them and how they all still have the same kind of common thread, and that they're very far away from home and the people that they love. Because interestingly enough, almost exclusively each altar has some different love interest. It's very, very interesting. I can't stress enough how interesting this game is. But at any rate, that song is called What If, the altar song. And we will leave that with you.
Good night.
Good night.
Growing up apart, we shared surprisingly common ground, feeling nothing more than regret, till the coin got flipped around. Things never said in quantum state now won't remain unspoken. The clock is unwound, the choice is unsound, could now reopen. What if I gotta spend a day with you again? Of all the things that I regret, it's losing you that truly hurts. If I could take another turn, my life would never be the same. If I could get another chance today. On the path I left behind, I've been roaming with no guiding light, but I'm no longer left all by myself. Together we can win this fight. Things that we lost, the personal cost, are they really gone forever? We're not gonna fail, we need to prevail and sail together. And though it seems now anything could be undone, would you be really missing things if they were never truly gone? If I could take another turn, my life would never be another chance.